Welcome into TFW Live. We're the best kept secret in fantasy football, and we keep that week one feeling going all year long. This is episode 346. We're going to be talking all things trade deadline, which was a massive one. 10 trades processed today. I believe Donnie was telling me that's the most we've had at the deadline ever. We've also got your week 9 waiver wire to discuss. So plenty of things to get into today. But before we do, I wanted to let you know that support for the show is TFW Live is brought to you by Manscaped. They are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. You can join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. It's 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code TFWMAN. That's 20%. Man, cannot speak today. It's 20% off plus free shipping with the code TFWMAN at manscaped.com. As you may know, I am Big Travi, and I'm joined here by our producer, the best producer in the world, Donnie Tubbs, a.k.a. Don Flick. What's going on, Donnie? How are you, my man?
Going on, brother? I think you were just so excited about Manscaped that the words just couldn't escape your mouth properly.
I'm so excited to shave my balls, and I think Whisper Nation should be as well.
Yeah.
So I just, I couldn't get the words out there, but I can get the words out that I want to say welcome to Whisper Nation. We've got Alex Strofe in the house here, Emmanuel, Albert, Jersey J, all of you in the chat, and all of you still to come. And I want to give some gratitude out to our members on YouTube who support the show through a monthly subscription. Gus Ramos, Pizza Belly, Don Caples, Bailey Ziegler, Kevin Davey, Nick, Brett Zabo, John Credit, Eric Lorenzen, Donnie Tubbs, Jersey J, and Hanimal. You can join them donating that $5 a month. You get the badges, you get some special emojis you can use, and you help support the show. What better could you do there? Just click join next to the video right now. But somebody that's going to join us right now, a very special friend of the show, our guy, head dog over there at the Dad Bod Fantasy Squad, maybe the dad of all the dads over there, Mario.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. How's it going, my man?
What's going on, Mario?
Not bad. What's up, boys? I'm glad to be back on here. It's been a while. Haven't seen you since outside of seeing you on Twitter and stuff. Haven't seen you since FF Expo.
Yeah, we got together on the expo. Donnie seeing you in virtual real life, I guess, on screen for the first time.
Which is real life now.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the same. But yeah, Mario, I was glad we did it last minute, get you on the show here. But before we jump into it, because obviously we're going to be talking waivers, trade deadlines, what's your biggest takeaway from today? Disappointment, excitement? What got you thinking the most here out of today's moves or anything about waivers?
Well, I think there was two big takeaways, and I want to say the Broncos aren't necessarily giving up on the year, but they definitely aren't feeling as confident as they were preseason.
They're not like it's like a "let's ride?" question mark.
Yeah.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do the meme that "let's hide."
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
The other one is. What the hell are the Chicago Bears doing?
Yeah, I have no idea what they want to do. So basically, you tell me one day that you're trading away Roquan Smith, you're trying to get picks. I can understand it. That's fine. Do what you got to do. But then don't take and give up a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. Like
the better second-round pick, too. The higher second-round pick.
33 to 40, probably. I mean, that's a guess, obviously, but what are we doing? It doesn't make no sense to me.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, is that worse than Hawkinson trading in division for a second round pick in a third for 2 fourths and Hawkinson? That's a little, I don't know. That might be worse in my opinion. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into a lot of these trades. That one was definitely a shocker to me. We're going to talk about them here, but the Bills, like, what are the Bills doing? Like, you spent a second round pick on James Cook.
Yeah.
You went and got another receiving back, and I just don't get it. I mean, I guess that's the prototype they want. They just want a bunch of undersized running backs and a couple of them that can catch passes. I mean, who might argue with the Bills? They're the best team in football right now, so we'll just let them kind of do what they're going to do. But if you guys enjoy the content and want to be a part of Whisper Nation and continue to get daily content, hit that subscribe button on the channel right now. Help us continue to grow the brand as we continue through the season. But let's go ahead and pop up some of this news. So we'll start again with that Hawkinson situation we were talking about there, Donnie. So the Lions are sending TJ Hawkins to the Vikings. My question was, what does this do to his value? Because I thought that Hawkinson, and I'll start with you, Donnie, was kind of settling into that like top 5, top 6 tight end. He was just, nothing crazy, but you could plug him in each week and get it. I'm a little bit afraid of him going to Minnesota. I don't know if this is really good for his value.
He's definitely been one of the more consistent tight ends this year. It's hard to find that consistent tight end. It's the top tier couple guys. It's a few consistent and then a huge drop off. And he's in that conversation of, you're happy to have him.
Yeah.
Going to the Vikings, they're doing really well. What scared me at first is they have Irv Smith, but then they came out that he's out 8 to 10 weeks. So it made me a little more excited about TJ Hawkinson, but how long is it going to? Tight end's a hard position. People don't talk about it very often. You're half lineman sometimes, you're half wide receiver, maybe a little more wide receiver nowadays. But how long until he knows the playbook well enough to be confident enough to play him in fantasy football every week?
Yeah, I don't know. Mario, you have anything to add there on Hawkinson's value going forward here?
Yeah, no, I think I agree with what you're saying. It's really hard for a pass catcher to trade midseason and actually find success. So I personally, I have 2 pretty bold takes about the trades that went down, and this would be one of them. I love TJ Hawkinson. I think he is an elite talent that was underutilized in Detroit. I think we're going to see a different tight end going forward. I'm not putting him in the Kelsey or Andrews category. But like, there's a path that leads to him getting there. There is that path that leads to him being really freaking good on a pass-heavy offense with an offensive-minded coach. I love it for this year. I think it's neutral, maybe slightly neutral plus.
Yeah, I think I kind of put it as like he's going from like a tight end 6 rest of season to maybe like somewhere 7 through 9. Like I think he does get somewhere jumbled down, and it's going to be tough to put him in your lineup this week, just like in the middle of the week. But I think you got to kind of do it unless you got the bench space to kind of roster another one there. All right, so moving on here, obviously, Donnie, you alluded to it. The Vikings put tight end Irv Smith on the injury reserve after that. And then we talked about the Bears. What are they doing here? They trade for Chase Claypool. I want to talk about not Claypool because I don't think he's going to be very valuable in fantasy, maybe not this season. But I do think that Justin Fields gets another little bit of a bump, and he's been playing hot lately. So, Mario, are you in on Justin Fields and this helping his rest of season outlook here?
Dude, so I'm an Ohio guy, right? Like you guys are West Coast. I'm an Ohio guy. I went to OSU. The love is there for Fields. I to this day stand that Fields would have been a great quarterback if he went to, San Francisco. He would have probably been their starter this year or any other situation, not any other, but a lot of other situations other than Chicago. So I want to say yes, but I am still not back into Claypool. Like his size is great. He's athletic as hell, but like what has he done? He had 1 good game this year, 2 good games.
Well, I mean, he scored double-digit touchdowns in his rookie season. I will give, and that's
11, right?
Yeah, and he joined very
18 years ago.
He joined very elite company in doing that. Not a lot of people do that in their rookie year.
Right.
But if we look at the quarterback play he's had since then, not good. I think it was Roto Surgeon on Twitter that said that Fields is going to be the first quarterback that can throw past the sticks. Kind of a dig there at Ben Roethlisberger and Mitch. But I do think, and Pickett, I do think that the deep ball becomes back into play for Claypool. And he was, when in his rookie season, Ben got that going for him. But Donnie, this has got to break your heart about your guy, Velus Jones, right? This just deletes Velus Jones, right? He's 1 year younger.
Never count out Velus Jones, baby. Our little bet there is going still strong. I don't know.
Yeah, it's because we made a bet, Mario, I bet that Jalen Tolbert would gain more yards than Velus Jones, and Jalen Tolbert hasn't even seen the field yet. So
I'm winning a little bit. I'm winning by a hair, I think. Yeah,
I don't know.
I think you're winning on rushing yards, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Should have included all purpose. Yeah.
The Claypool, it excites it visually. It excites me. It's a better target than he's had, but I mean, he's throwing it on average 21 times a game. Like the value in Fields right now is still his running ability. I think we'll see how this unfolds in the near future.
Is there any room, and this is coming from somebody who's a little biased and has Mooney in a couple spots just on the bench, any room for this to be good for Mooney? clear up a little bit of room for Mooney, some attention defensively, or am I just I'm grabbing at straws here, wishing a little too much?
I think you're trying to be a little hopeful right there.
All right, I'll move on. So the Broncos obviously trading away Bradley Chubb here to the Dolphins. Obviously, part of that deal was, Chase Edmonds going there, and then the Broncos coming out as right before we came on and saying Melvin Gordon's still the starter. Yeah, we know he's still the starter, and you're going to give him like 8 carries and then let everybody else touch the ball. Anything other than, the Broncos maybe not giving up that much? What does this affect fantasy for either of you guys in any way? And I'll start with you, Donnie.
I've had Edmonds on my bench in 2 leagues almost since week 2. And I think he's just going to keep riding my bench till I see otherwise. The Broncos scare me a lot more than the Dolphins. Maybe they're going to utilize him more than he was at the Dolphins, but until I see it, he's going to ride my bench. I don't know if he's a drop candidate, but definitely riding the bench.
Man, Mario, I remember going on your show this offseason, so excited about Chase Edmonds. He was one of the first backs to go and get money by the Dolphins, and they basically said, nope, see you later. And he didn't do himself any favors. Does this downgrade, if he could downgrade any more, that rushing attack over in Denver at all?
I don't think there is room, like you said, to downgrade. Yeah. There literally isn't. This is how anybody that owns Chase Edmonds has to be like, well, at least something's different. I think that's it. Like, that's where it sits right now.
That's well said. Well said. So we'll move on here to the other side of that was because Raheem Mostert, I literally was in a group chat today. We had victory laps going for the Raheem Mostert owner. And then about an hour later, Jeff Wilson traded over to the Dolphins here. And this one gets a little interesting for me because obviously Mostert's injury history, he left that Detroit game a little bit. And it kind of made me wonder why they would trade Edmonds away. They had this in their back pocket. They went and got Jeff Wilson. And I'll tell you what, guys, the only thing that got, I think, Jeff Wilson out of a job was the fact that CMC was traded to the Niners because he was looking pretty damn good for the Niners. So if Wilson's out there on your waiver, Donnie, are you, and we'll talk more about waivers as we get into this show, are you inclined to go pick up Wilson? How are you feeling about that addition to the backfield?
Yeah, it excites me more than CMC's been there. I'd throw a flyer out. I'd see what's out there. I mean, like you said, the Mostert injury and Jeff Wilson, the coach over there in Miami, our boy, the nerd himself, knows Jeff Wilson. And if anyone knows how to utilize him, I think he will. Yeah.
I mean, the history is there for sure for Jeff Wilson to be a little bit interesting. Another interesting one, but this one is probably for next year. So for your dino heads out there, Calvin Ridley traded to the Jaguars. What were your initial thoughts on this one, Mario? Pretty interesting trade here. I think we kind of knew they were going to get a deal done, but I didn't know if it was going to be at this deadline.
This one's another one that kind of confused me. Like, why did we have to make this move at the deadline? I get it. Jaguars are playing for next year. I completely understand that. But it just didn't make sense to me. Like, he's going to be sitting there, I guess, getting maybe this is all good for him to start studying. I don't know. I think it's a smart move for the Jaguars, though, truthfully. If Calvin Ridley is anything of Calvin Ridley before the mental health troubles that he had and then before the suspension, then it's a great move for them. I think Zay Jones is still one of the most, at $8 million a year, I don't care, is one of the most overpaid wide receivers in the league, and that's next to Christian Kirk. So, I think this is a great move for them. I do think they're going to have some weird cap troubles come 2024, but because I expect them to want to keep him after next season if he's good.
He's kind of the perfect fit for them if they could get him in for that full season next year. He's got the outside of capability, and he separates so well. So you get that with the big slot, the big play slot out of Christian Kirk, and then, of course, the tight end and Evan Ingram, and then you mentioned Zay Jones as well. They could have a pretty loaded roster there with ETN as well as they're starting to build some things around. But, could have some troubles there. And then I think the last two here we'll talk about here, Kareem Hunt not being traded at all. I don't know how. They wanted a fourth, and nobody went and traded. Like, do the Rams just not have a 4th-round pick? I kept asking Donnie this last night. I should have went and looked it up. I don't know why you don't go and get Kareem Hunt. Maybe you don't think that saves your year. Probably doesn't. And then the other one is Nyheim Hines to the Bills. Anything here? Any takeaways? Obviously, I think it's a downgrade to James Cook, but is this kind of a downgrade to Devin Singletary too, Mario?
I like, this is one of those. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but what the hell? Like, Kareem Hunt would have been the best fit for Buffalo. There's other guys. Damian Harris could have probably been bought this trade deadline. David Montgomery might have been able to be bought. Those guys fit a little bit better. You got Cook, who finally looked good last game, but we're going to go ahead and get Nyheim Hines. I honestly think this is for punt return. I truthfully do.
You know what I think it is? I think they are all in on the Super Bowl this year. And if Cook goes down, or if Singletary goes down, or if both go down, they have the same prototype. They have the same. They don't really want a true running back in Buffalo because they've got Josh Allen and they want to throw all the time. Yeah. So they basically are just going to stack a bunch of these guys up that can plug and play and catch balls from Josh Allen. And I think that's the role they're playing. And to me, I was like, okay, I think it's a two, but who am I, again, to question the Bills? I think it's a decent one. As far as fantasy goes, I think Singletary, I don't know if it hurts Singletary too much. He wasn't really going to be their big receiving back, and he seems to be in the game. They trust him, but I think this is a pretty big depth piece here. All right, I think that kind of covered. No trade, obviously, for Brandon Cooks. Zach Moss got moved in the Indy deal. I don't think we care too much about that one, so we'll move it along here. Let's see if we can
I was hoping for Brandon Cooks to the Packers. I was hoping for Kareem Hunt to the Eagles or the Bills. I was just some of these fits excited me so much, and to see them not happen, man.
All right, we love all these questions in here. Get them rocking in here. We will get them answered by the end of the show, so please stick with us. We are going to start working through some of these waiver wire positionings, and we're going to talk about the most added players right here on Sleepers. You can see on the screen, we're going to start with the running back position, and right now, as it stands, even after all the trades and everything going on, Kenyon Drake, the most added back. We saw Gus Edwards go down with the hamstring injury. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins extended time. Drake's he's been a blast from the past, kind of got it done so far in his limited opportunities. The second most added is Ronnie Rivers. And then the third most added, we talked about Jeff Wilson here as an interesting add. As we move down the list, some of those other guys we mentioned. Donnie, I'll start with you. When you look at the running back position, who are you prioritizing? Do you agree with the market here on Kenyon Drake as the biggest name to add here, or would you be going to look for somebody else?
Oh, man, the Kenyon Drake out there, people chased his points earlier in the season, and it hurt them big time.
Right.
The one that excites me the most is number 5, I think, Khalil Herbert. He's rostered in 60% of leagues. I think he's the one that I would personally be shooting for. He is just so efficient. I love Monty. I love watching him in college. He knows how to shake his boots and make people miss, but Herbert's just been way more efficient in the offense. And if they want to start winning like we think they do, kind of, I think Herbert's one to have.
Mario, do you agree with Herbert as the number one ad here, or do you like some of these other guys better? We can move it down the list here too. Caleb Huntley, Deion Jackson. We're getting that asked about Deion Jackson in the chat as well now that Nyheim Hines is out of town. How are you feeling about the crop of running backs here that Sleepers got available in the trending page?
There's a lot of good ones that you're mentioning right now. I mean, Kenyon Drake is an option, but like if you're looking, especially Dynasty, but if you're looking for like some high upside, Khalil Herbert his snap percentage isn't jumping up, but his opportunities are right there with David Montgomery. I think he's about 3 less opportunities the last 2 games. He's great. Sorry, Donnie. I am a hater of David Montgomery. I think he's looked pretty bad this year. Mediocre. His best year was mediocre, a little above. And so I am all about this switching of the guard of Khalil Herbert. This GM has no ties to David Montgomery. It was a 3rd-round pick. It wasn't even high for the last GM, but this GM has no ties there. But I also wanted to, because I'm sorry, I'm hogging here. I love Jeff Wilson. And that was the trade that I was like, I absolutely loved it. And San Fran, he was likely going to be the 3rd running back, right? We were going to see him stashed away behind 2 guys that unlikely for him to see the field very often at all. You go to Miami and you have Mostert, who has not been the beacon of health, who he is a great runner. And you're also looking at, McDaniel is there, the guy that taught me how to run, the guy that coached me how to run. This will be a perfect match. So I don't necessarily think this is more than Mostert's handcuff yet, but it's a great handcuff, a very valuable handcuff, probably the best handcuff. I mean, Khalil Herbert's a good one too, but they're top handcuffs right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like we got Scott in here. Are we seriously talking about Kenyon Drake? And I mean, that's just what the market is showing us here, Scott. But I will say that I agree with you both that I'm going Jeff Wilson. I'm going Khalil Herbert over Kenyon Drake. And the reason, not just because Drake, is going to be in a committee if Gus Edwards is able to make it back into this game. Justice Hill was getting work eventually, but we're not even mentioning Lamar Jackson, the number one running back on that team. And we also have a bye next week for the Ravens. So you might be dealing with that if you're looking for that spot start. If you're desperate and you need it, he's probably like the short term. But Herbert getting enough work right now to be a short-term play for you as well. So I think he's probably the best ad, followed by Jeff Wilson. I think Jeff Wilson's just one of those underrated running backs. Every time he gets an opportunity, and he's had injury problems of his own, but every time he gets an opportunity, he just really works hard and does his own work there. All right, so we'll look at the trending down running backs here to talk about guys we'd be dropping at the running back position. Everybody trying to make that sneaky ad with Dearness Johnson in case Kareem Hunt got traded. But Darrell Henderson's an interesting one here. Brian Robinson also for me. I think we can drop the third string running back in Carolina, guys. Raheem Blackshear. And then Eno Benjamin. Yeah, the black sheep of the running back in there.
Yeah.
So really, I want to focus here on Darrell Henderson and Brian Robinson because I think the other two are clear drops. Are we dropping Darrell Henderson right now? Because Kyron Williams set to come back. We had River. What is his last name?
Ronnie Rivers, I think.
Yeah, Ronnie Rivers. He started over Darrell, but then Darrell ended up out snapping him and getting more work. So that experiment didn't work for McVay. This offense looks broken. How are you feeling about Darrell Henderson versus like a Khalil Herbert versus a Jeff Wilson? I'll start with you, Mario.
Oh man, that's a great question because you're looking at guys. So my thought is Darrell Henderson's not cracking your starting lineup, and it's likely he's not even the next guy up on your lineup. There's a chance for that, especially where his draft went. So like if you really had to decide, it goes Khalil Herbert easily over Darrell Henderson for me, and then it's probably Darrell Henderson and Jeff Wilson. As much as I love Jeff Wilson being reasonable, that's probably how it would look.
Donnie, do you agree with that kind of breakdown, or is there a line you'd be drawn here?
I was reading about Darrell Henderson earlier today, and I guess he was back a week. And I think that's the main reason that he didn't get the start. He still out-snapped him, but he got less touches. Talking about Ronnie Rivers and Darrell Henderson. So I don't know if I'd be dropping Henderson. I think he's still going to be the starter there. I don't really want to pick up Rivers, and I do want to pick up Khalil Herbert. I don't know if I would drop Henderson for Herbert right now. It's a tough choice.
Yeah, that one's tough for me.
But...
And the more the industry talks about Kyron Williams, because I stashed him, but I also traded him away today. He's an undersized back that they basically got for pass protection. I know he can do some pass. He's not anything super special, like as an athlete, right? So I'm worried that Kyron Williams just a little bit overblown because we're just trying to find the next McVay running back. I think Henderson, if he can stay healthy, is probably going to be the best bet to kind of emerge throughout the rest of the year. I don't know if you guys have a strong take either way on that Rams backfield.
Mm-hmm. It's tough. That whole offense is tough this year.
Yeah, it's hard to trust. All right, so we'll move on to the wide receiver position here. And the most added wide receiver after a very strong day, Rondale Moore. We've also got Josh Palmer here with Keenan Allen back, but Big Mike Williams likely out for he's got a high ankle sprain, so likely out for a pretty good while here. Yep. And so we also have Demarcus Robinson as well up here. Romeo Doubs, who had a strong Sunday night there, Donnie. Devin Duvernay with the Bateman injury news. Terrace Marshall has kind of picked up here. So when you're looking at these guys, again, it's a constant theme. Is this the order you would put it, or do you see it a different way?
Man, I think the top two for sure are ones that I want to stash.
Yeah.
They utilize Rondale Moore how he should be used. 2 weeks ago, they're doing a fade route to him in the first quarter. Like, what are you doing? He's like 5'2". Just put him in the slot, let him catch the ball, and he's a yak specialist. Let him kill it.
And he did that.
Yeah. Look at that. So efficient.
7 of 8 for 92. He had the touchdown. He had a really, really nice play to score that touchdown. It was a highlight-worthy play, probably his play of his career, to be honest. I mean, he's got the short career going on here, but I think he's kind of in the category now. I mean, look at the snap percentage here. I mean, this is even with our guy D-Hop back. Okay, So it looks like they said, screw you, Robbie Anderson. We've got D-Hop, we've got Ertz, and we've got Rondale Moore. And I think that's a smart thing. And once in a while, Robbie, to kind of test the defense, open things up for guys underneath. But I really think that Rondale Moore is going to be a hot ad here. And then if you look at Josh Palmer, he hasn't really done anything crazy for you. But the last game he played was that Monday night with Mike Williams was being shadowed by Surtain. And we saw Palmer kind of step up and do that. Then he was concussed, missed the Seattle game, and then Mike Williams with the high ankle sprain. So now Josh Palmer, one of the sneakier and highly added players here. So do you like it the way it is, Rondale Moore and then Josh Palmer, or would you flip it?
Yeah, I do. Josh Palmer does excite me, though, because Chargers need something different. We all thought this team we all thought that whole division was going to be crazy on offense. The Chargers had the weapons, and we all were expecting it, and it just hasn't been there. I know Allen's been out a lot of the season. Mike Williams now out. They need a boost, and I think Palmer's young enough and exciting enough to give them that boost. Absolutely. But I would still take Moore over him.
I'm with you there. I'm just going to get into Scott's question here. What time was the deadline over? So it was 4 Eastern. It already passed here. I know you were saying Melvin Gordon will get traded. He did not get traded, Scott, and the deadline has passed. And we'll get to the rest of all your guys' questions. So keep them coming. We're excited to jump into those. We are just working through some of the top waiver ads to get you some framework on the waivers tonight. Romeo Dubs is another interesting one here, and it's not just my Packer fandom here. Call me crazy. I think the Packers got some stuff going on Sunday night against the Bills. It seemed like they were starting to get some things rocking and rolling here. So I was definitely into what Dubs was able to do. I mean, he got called out in the media and he made some fantastic catches. I don't think he's going to be consistent. And I think Palmer and Rondale Moore could probably have some more consistency here. But, Mario, we were just kind of talking about these wide receivers, and we think we'd rank it kind of how it is. Rondale Moore, Josh Palmer being the big ads out of the wide receiving room this week, and in that order. But a couple sneaky ones, Romeo Dubs obviously here, and then Devin Duvernay. If Bateman is going to be out for an extended period of time, and it sounds like he is, I like Devin Duvernay. His speed has been good. They scheme him up on stuff, and he's just been a guy that they use in the red zone. They use on end arounds. He's just a fun player to have. I think if you're desperate for an upside flex from time to time, this is a guy that can really pop. How are you looking at these wide receivers, Mario, this week?
Well, I think it's interesting because you're looking at two guys that should have a role and should have the opportunity. And then you're looking at two guys that are kind of big plays. For example, Josh Palmer is an opportunity machine, and we haven't seen the greatest fantasy performances from the amount of opportunities for Josh Palmer. So his ceiling seems lower. Duvernay is obviously explosive, but he could also put up a 3. So if I really had a pick from here, and I may need to note that I am not the biggest advocate of Rondale Moore's. If I had a pick here, I'm picking Dobbs. Rondale Moore he always is. His value goes down when Hollywood comes back. Robbie Anderson's going to get more involved.
Yeah.
Ertz has kind of been quiet over the past couple weeks. So we finally saw a Rondale Moore game. But the times that they're in the press, and I always say this, the times that they're in the press, they're like, yeah, we're scheming up more plays for Rondale. When I hear we're scheming up more plays for Rondale, which are usually end arounds, maybe one or two routes that they have designed specifically for him. When I hear that, I hear he can't get open on his own, so we had to design these plays for him. That's always the red flag that I get. But maybe he'll be more involved in this offense. I'd prefer Dobbs.
You do make an interesting point. Both of these guys are kind of contingency guys, right? Rondale and Palmer. We're waiting on Mike Williams to return. That'll probably, kind of eliminate Palmer's. And his ceiling is already low, even with the opportunity, as you mentioned, very astutely there. Rondale Moore with the Marquise Brown stuff. But even still, he could be more inconsistent because of Zach Ertz's existence. They're running similar parts of the field, right? So when Zach Ertz has a day, Rondale maybe not likely to have as big of a day as well. I like what you said about Dubs there. I was telling Donnie before we popped you back on here, it seemed like the Packers started to click a little bit in that Buffalo game, especially in the second half. The offense started going on. Now, that could be the hopeful Packer fan in me, but I think if they can start to stick to the running game to open up the passing game, and these wide receivers, they move the pocket. I don't know why it took them all half to move the pocket against that pass rush, but they moved the pocket, and then these wide receivers are kind of doing the broken play thing like the Rodgers of old. And if they start to do more of that, I think Dubs and some of these guys could get going there. So I don't mind that. So if we look at the trending down wide receivers here, obviously, so some guys I want to point out here really quick too. Obviously, Chase Claypool, I'm not really buying into that. Terrace Marshall's a little bit interesting. But I think Garrett Wilson, so 71%, had a really big uptick.
Adam.
He's demanded targets. He's probably not out there, but Adam, if he is, we saw that, when the Jets are down and they're trailing, they will start to throw it a little bit more. And Wilson with, Corey Davis dealing with his thing, and then Elijah Moore, just basically a no-show. I really like what we're seeing out of Garrett Wilson in spots this year. All right, so the drops here, we got Marquise Goodwin, Wan'Dale Robinson. This one surprises me a little bit here. I wouldn't agree with that one. Josh Reynolds and then Rashad Bateman as well. So I can understand Bateman. You're getting into a situation where could be multiple weeks. We'll see if they put him on the IR, what happens there. But he's flashed such upside for me in the first few weeks that I'd like to stash him if I can. But I am in a couple leagues where I got to drop him. Wan'Dale, I'm keeping, man. He's the number one option over there. I'd imagine he still would be. They ran into a bit of a, we talked about it off air, Donnie. The Seattle Seahawks, good against wide receiver. Good against wide receiver. Yeah.
Third best in the league. And it was a tough game. I mean, anyone that watched that game, it was a defensive game. There was no really run game on each side. There was no really pass game on each side. But then there was a fumble on a punt return for the Seahawks, which opened up the touchdown for Saquon. And then the punt returner, Richie James Jr., shout out to him. He had 2 fumbles on 2 punts, which opened up the game for us. So that's what it was. It was a tough game on both sides and solid defense. I still think Wan'Dale's our number one option, and he's an exciting young wide receiver. I would drop Bateman before I would drop Robinson personally, and it'd be tough to drop Bateman for me now, unless I really needed to.
I hear that too. I'm okay with Marquise Goodwin getting dropped. We saw DK and Lockett both make it back here. I think that's a good one. Anything to add here, Mario, on kind of the drops on the wide receiver side?
I think it's crazy that Wan'Dale is on this list. Absolutely crazy.
I got to think it's the bye, right? People are just kind of filling that bye situation out. So,
he's young, a bad game, bye week.
Yeah, you're going to get inconsistency there, but he's going to be a really good one. All right, so now this is our cover boy here, Isaiah Likely here, who flashed big time in that Thursday night game as a fill-in option for our guy Mark Andrews, who got a little bit banged up. Brock Wright from Detroit being added by a ton because of
roster, baby.
TJ Hawkinson. But Evan Ingram is one I want to highlight here. Okay, if we look at Evan Ingram's usage over the last few weeks, he has just been he's been a decent floor. There's a PPR points here, 12, 9, 10, 15. And he's had 6 or more targets in 4 straight games, 4 or more catches in those games, and that floor of like 50 to 60 yards is there as well. Only 1 touchdown. I got to think with that kind of yardage coming, he's due for some positive touchdown regression. You look at Vegas and Kansas City up next on the schedule, 2 teams inside the top 6 in points allowed to the tight end. So give me some Evan Ingram in this offense, especially with teams kind of keying in on Christian Kirk. I think his struggles have kind of opened up the door for Evan Ingram here. But I want to kick it to you, Mario, first, and then Donnie on Isaiah Likely. How much – because I had a thought today, and I want to pitch it to you here. Even with Andrews coming back, they have their bye next week, but Likely flashed, and it was his first real big game of usage. He is a receiving tight end. This team needs receivers. Bateman going to be out for a while. What do you think could be the likelihood of Andrews and Likely – I keep using this word with his name, being like an option that stays, even if Andrews comes back to full form? Mario, I'll start with you, man. Would he be above Evan Ingram for you here?
I don't think so, but I think I would make room to stash Isaiah Likely. Like you just said, it's all I could think about watching that game and how good he looked. And then if you remember from preseason, he looked great. Yeah. He looked really good in preseason as well. So it's like, not only did he do it against scrubs, but now coming into an NFL game mid-game and doing it great then. I kept just getting flashbacks of the time that the Patriots ran out Hernandez and Gronk.
Yeah,
Gronk, that's all I could think about.
Well, and I just think Lamar, Donnie, has always done. I mean, his passer rating is so much better to tight ends. Now, obviously, some of that is because of Mark Andrews and who Mark Andrews is, but also like they've used multiple tight ends forever in Baltimore, but even before and after they traded Hayden Hurst away. So how do you feel about that? I'm kind of big brain in it here, but I think, and we've seen correct me if I'm wrong, but Harbaugh's like one of the best going into the bye week and adjusting his team for a new offense going forward. Him and Greg Roman. So how do you feel about Likely? And even with Andrews in the mix, Andrews could be rested in this game because their bye weeks next week, so he could be a spot start. But what about Likely rest of season as well?
I mean, you hit it. Harbaugh is one of the more intelligent coaches out there, and I think he saw what Likely did this game. He saw what he did in the preseason. They need playmakers right now. They're hurting all over the field. I think he will be seen more on the field with Andrews, hopefully a la Patriots back in the day. It's really exciting. His ceiling excites me more than Ingram's, but I would choose Evan Ingram right now over him. Just that floor is fantastic. A 10-point floor for a tight end right now. Please go pick up Ingram if you're hurting in the tight end position. But if you have a good tight end on your team and you want a flyer on someone that's going to hit big potentially, I like Likely, and it's likely that they should use him with Andrews on the field.
Dude, the wordplay with Likely has been so good too. Like all over Twitter, it's just been awesome.
The beers.
So, how many beers am I going to have?
Yeah.
Likely 8.
Likely 8.
Yeah, so good. All right, so if we look at the drop list for the tight end position here, Irv Smith obviously going on IR. We have no problem with that. Harrison Bryant going into a bye, and I kind of just thought this was like a whatever situation.
Yeah, we talked about it this
Mario,
weekend. We're like, oh, yeah.
Everybody, some sharp people were like, pick up Harrison Bryant, replacement for a David Njoku, and I just kept being like, I don't think that's how it's going to work,
Dude,
man.
I was one of those people.
Yeah, you were in on the replacement, huh?
We've seen flashes from Harrison Bryant.
Yeah.
This was like 2 years ago, though. I want to say it was 2 years ago. It was before Hooper was there. Bryant looked like a stud. So you think he would come into this game, kind of demand the targets, the same way that Brissett has been using Njoku. He didn't even see a target, did he?
No, it was zero blanked. It was scary. It was a scary Halloween performance there. So I'd be fine dropping him, especially with the bye.
I would too.
Greg Dulcich is an interesting one here. On bye.
3 games in a row over 11 points.
Yeah, this guy has really been doing it.
Yeah,
and is there any fear for you, Donnie, on him though being a rookie? Because we do see rookie tight ends not do well out of the gate, and they are inconsistent. But are you just kind of buying that this offense, similar to Baltimore, is craving playmakers right now?
Yeah, 2 things scare me about Dulcich. Right, he's a rookie, and he has the afraid of tight end quarterback Russell Wilson throwing to him. But hey, man, maybe Russell Wilson thinks he's a wide receiver because he's throwing to him. Like, come on, he's doing great. Over 11, I would have 2 tight ends on your roster for this week. Keep Dulcich on your bench for his bye week. Keep him. It's hard to get the consistent tight ends. I said it earlier, and he's doing it, and I think it's going to continue. I'm
with you on that one. Plus the hair, man. He's got the best hair of any tight end right now. All right, so before we get into these fan questions, we got a ton of them. We love Whisper Nation in here being patient with us and talking through this. We got to get to the last position on waivers, and that is the quarterback position. And our top 3 ads here, Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota. But really, all of these scrubs underneath Justin Fields can just be kicked to the curb because Justin Fields is absolutely balling right now, guys. This is a 4-point touchdown scoring, 19, 21, 26, and 30. But really, I want to show you this green part of the field here because this is where the points add up. This is his rushing, 8, 12, 14, and 8 attempts. 47, 88, 82, and 60 yards rushing with multiple rushing touchdowns in the last month. They've really got this thing clicking here for Fields, and I think he's finally going to be what we wanted him to be for fantasy. That's a really nice floor with games of 30, 35 points possible when he's able to toss 2 scores here. If you've been dealing with an Aaron Rodgers, if you've been dealing with a Matthew Stafford, if you've been dealing with, Kirk's had a couple good games too, but Derek Carr, are you ready to pivot and just drop these guys for somebody like Justin Fields? Mario, I'll start with you, brother.
Dude, I think so. I mean, this is QB2 through that span that you just showed.
Yeah.
So you're finally seeing, and I always butcher this name, Eberflus.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, that's good.
It just sounds funny then.
Sounds like a Dr. Seuss character.
Yeah. Eberflus, he's finally starting to tailor this offense towards Fields. It's been amazing to see because, we're watching a lot of these new-minded coaches. Think come to mind as Hackett, who just doesn't know how to tailor their offense to their playmakers. And finally, it's been a breath of fresh air to see Justin Fields kind of getting unleashed and kind of getting him rolling out, getting the RPOs rolling, like a lot of it. And I've loved it. And I think I would drop Aaron Rodgers over and Derek Carr. I think I would.
Yeah. He's just so intelligent, dude. Coming out of college, I probably don't know. You went to Ohio State and you're probably a huge fan for college. I love college football. Every time I saw Fields interviewing at the combine, at that whole process, he just seems so intelligent. He seemed like someone I would just like to hang out with all the time, and them not tailoring this offense around this fucking intelligent specimen of a quarterback that can run and throw. It's been hurting me the last couple of years, and seeing it now these last few weeks, I've really enjoyed it. And I have Carr in a couple leagues. I would love to drop him for Fields, but unfortunately he's not available for me. But if he is, pick him up for sure.
Yeah, 42% rostered. And look at these next 3 games, guys. Miami, Detroit, and Atlanta.
Ooh.
These are not defenses that strike fear into you, and I don't have any faith that they're going to be able to contain what Fields has been doing so far. And with the addition of Claypool, man, I really think it could open up things even more. We even saw a Komet sighting last week, guys. So, things are starting to get a little bit rosy over there for Chicago and Justin Fields. We'll look at the drop candidates next year. Daniel Jones, I'm not inclined to drop Daniel Jones as much here. Derek Carr, though, I'd be okay with. As you could see, I went and tried to snag, Malik Willis here. I'll be dropping him though, and going for a Justin Fields as well. But I'm good with Derek Carr. I'm good with dropping Malik Willis, some of these other guys. But Danny Dimes, I kind of want to keep. He was starting to get going, but I think I would go Fields over Dimes. How are you guys feeling on this?
I'm right there with you. Fields over Dimes, but I'm keeping Danny Dimes if I can. He had a rough week against the Seahawks. I think people in their minds are like, man, 9 points against the Seahawks? Seahawks fucking suck. Seahawks, I'm not just a homer, all right? The Seahawks defense has turned it around the second half of the season. They've been killing it against the wide receivers and quarterbacks, man. They suck against tight ends and running backs, but they do their own against quarterbacks and wide receivers. And he had a rough week and a bye, so I think this is why we're seeing him drop so much. But I'd be more inclined to keep him, but I would, like you said, choose Fields over Daniel Jones if I had the choice.
Mara, you agree with that?
I'm struggling with. I think I go Daniel Jones, but here's the thing: it's so close to me that Daniel Jones on a bye this week that if Justin Fields is out there and you need the roster spot, do it. Absolutely do it. But if we're looking at it 1-to-1. It's tough for me to say that. I just have a little bit more faith in Daniel Jones, but it is funny because they're similar quarterbacks and they've been in similar situations. So, I mean, it's very close, but I think I'd stick with Daniel Jones. I wish they had more weapons though.
Yeah. Are you choosing both over Carr and Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, absolutely. I am.
I'm trying to pick up both of these guys if I can do the dual quarterback thing on my roster, because you could play matchup between the two. They both have the rushing ability. Ditch the Derek Carr, ditch the Aaron Rodgers. They're not running, and play matchups between these two because
that's a good idea.
The Bears haven't had their bye. I think I don't know when the Bears bye is, but Daniel Jones having his bye this week, but then Houston, Detroit, and Dallas. Maybe you could kind of play matchups based on that. I think if you can afford to do it, that's one of the ways I'd be doing dual quarterbacks there, especially Superflex. That'd be a lot of fun to do. All right, so that does it for our ads and our drops here for the waiver wire. We appreciate Mario being on here to work through that with us. And now we're going to get to the fun stuff here. Whisper Nation has a ton of questions. Thank you guys for pouring these in here. And we are going to try and get through all of them right now. All right. Emmanuel Lucero watching on Facebook says, should I drop Darrell Henderson for Ronnie Rivers in full point PPR? And I think we're all unanimous in saying no on this one. Nothing out of Ronnie Rivers really surprised me. Plus Kyron Williams to be activated probably in the next week.
Kyron Williams and Henderson was dealing with the injury and the sickness. So
YouTube, interesting name here, says, should I trade Amon-Ra St. Brown for DeAndre Swift? So interesting news came out today before I officially pose this to you. I would not do this deal, but it's not just because of the news that was coming out on Swift that they're basically trying to ease him back because they think that he's not fully healthy, even though he practiced in full and had no injury designation. But that's where we're at with it. I wouldn't be trading Amon-Ra though for much right now. I think he is a top 5 option just based on target share. And now TJ Hawkinson gone. I mean, that's got to be even more targets funneled his way. How do you guys feel about this? If you're desperate for running back, Mario, would you be willing to do this, or do you agree on Amon-Ra?
If I'm desperate for running back, I would consider this. But like you just said, the Goff is like the best person to hear the funneling targets through, because like if he doesn't have weapons, he will funnel those targets to his guy. And Amon-Ra just became his guy. There's no Chark. There's not Jameson Williams for another month. Like there's a lot of things that you're just like, Amon-Ra should have a really big second half again.
Absolutely. Uncle Tom here says, do I give Pollard and Adam Thielen for Josh Jacobs? This question is for you, Donnie.
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Jacobs, the whole Jacobs and Miles Sanders thing, I've bagged on them all offseason, and they both just have slapped me over the face every week this week. But Pollard looks so amazing. But then the owner's like, it runs through Zeke. So I could see why you would want to do this. Man. I still have the bias, I think, over Jacob. I don't know if he can. I'm gonna go over to Mario. I don't think I would do it. Jacobs has been really consistent. I think he's on target to get 1,700 rushing yards this season, and he's been killing it. But Pollard just looks so juicy, man. He looks so good with the starting position. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's the interesting question, Mario. Is if you think there's any world where Pollard could be the 1A to Zeke's 1B. With Jerry Jones still alive. That's my. If Jerry Jones is still breathing, do we think that that's possible?
So, like, this is a conversation that I have. I have a group chat with my hometown buddies, right? And we chat about football. We're in leagues together, and one of the main topics is like everybody going crazy about Pollard this week. And like we all know it. We all know Pollard looks way better than Zeke. It happened all last year. You watch every single game, and he looks more explosive, faster, everything. It's just not, in my mind, it's not going to happen. It could get closer, but Zeke will still maintain the bigger portion of that split. And it makes it hard to, I'm a yes on this. I think
you'd go get Josh Jacobs.
I would go get Josh Jacobs.
It makes a lot of sense.
Offense is broken. There's a huge correlation with Las Vegas winning and Josh Jacobs running his ass off. So like, I think they're understanding that. We saw it last week. He didn't have a great game. They got smoked. Obviously, game script dictated that. But they're going to lean into Josh Jacobs. And McDaniel especially is going to lean into Josh Jacobs to keep his job. Because when he runs well, they do well.
Yeah, and we've got dates with the Chargers, Seattle, Jacksonville on the schedule for Jacobs. Those are excellent teams if you want your running back to score points. So I think this was New Orleans still got a pretty tough run defense. I think that was part of the play here. I think the bigger thing for me is, don't we feel like we're getting a little bit of borrowed time with Adam Thielen? Like I especially now with Hawkinson coming into the fold, we've got all these other things. Jefferson should continue to do his thing. I mean, Thielen's always going to do his thing, but he's just keep getting older. So I think this is a good time to sell high on a couple of these guys here, especially with the Zeke news that came out after. I'm with going for Jacobs as well. All right. Chris Bork here. Should I trade Jalen Hurts for Deshaun Watson, Khalil Herbert, and Pickens? Record 3-5. I need running back help in dealing with Mike Williams' injury. Plus, Andrews hasn't been 100%, but I'm sure we'll bounce back. So I'm trading. Should I trade Jalen Hurts for Deshaun Watson, Khalil Herbert, and Pickens? Mario, why don't you start us off here on this one?
I think a big question is who's filling in before we get to Watson in week 12. That would help me. Like if we have Fields, yes. I maybe not yes to the question. Let me kind of dive deeper though. If Fields would be an optimal situation if you're considering this, because Deshaun Watson, we don't necessarily know how he's going to look in a Browns jersey. I'm very biased because I'm a Cleveland native, so I'm hopeful he'll come back right to dominate. Khalil Herbert, somebody we talked about at the top of the show, I think he's going to keep getting more work, man. The opportunities are there. The snap percentage isn't. I have to think that snap percentage is going to go up and resulting in a couple more opportunities. And George Pickens might have just unlocked a bigger role on this offense. Claypool gone. It's Pickens and Deontay Johnson there. It's so hard to trade Jalen Hurts, though. That's what I want to bounce to you before I even give an answer on this.
I'm right there with you, man. I think this is the first year where I think it's going to switch me. I've always been running back round 1, round 2, like always in my drafts. I love running back. This year, it's the wide receivers and top quarterbacks that are killing it. And you're seeing the undefeated teams have the Jalen Hurts, have the Josh Allens. I don't know if I would do this, man. I don't know if I trust that Browns this year with Deshaun Watson coming back after all that time missed with a new team. Khalil Herbert is very efficient, but we still don't see 28% snap share still. He did have the 16 carries, and Pickens is still, it looks great. He is a rookie. It scares
with the rookie
me.
quarterback. Yeah.
With the rookie quarterback, I'm holding on to Hurts in this trade, I think. I would look for a different kind of trade where you can keep Hurts.
Yeah, and like I think even exploring what you could possibly return from Hurts, if you're 3-5, you're saying you need some RB help and you're dealing with some wide receiver injuries, I think you could get more for Hurts. I think there's probably a team that has more depth that you could probably get more.
You can get an RB1 for Hurts. Like, come on, like put it out there. Yeah, or RB2, but something better than
No, I think so too is what I said. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel you. Yeah. Travi's back here. What are you thinking? You had time to think about it?
Yeah, I had to go, get on the toilet for a little bit and understand everything.
That's the best thinking spot right there.
I pulled the Dewey clocks and just thought about my entire life before I answered this question. I'm just not inclined to trade Jalen Hurts at all. Like,
same.
Unless I'm getting top 5 at the position elsewhere, because the advantage that Hurts is giving you right now, especially relative to where you drafted him, is the stuff that wins you leagues. 3-5, how many of your teams make the playoffs? That's another question. Are you really needing to panic this much? I play in my league of record is 12 teams, but 8 make the playoffs. I'm 2-6, and I still think I have a chance because 8 teams make the playoffs. So, and if you have Jalen Hurts, that guy can go from 30 to 40. He's already had his bye. It's smooth sailing. You're riding Jalen Hurts the rest of the way here. And I think all these other guys you have.
They have bye. They all have bye too.
Yeah. Well, Khalil Herbert, Pickens, I just think you're trading for those guys. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I think I would just rather wait out Andrews, who I think they'll rest this week, go pick up Likely or Ingram, right? Get into your bye week. Those are great fill-ins for Andrews. He'll get back, be 100% for your stretch run. I wouldn't be too worried about the Mike Williams one. Hurts. But maybe Palmer's available. Maybe some other players are available. Wide receivers kind of you can play matchups. You can run through some stuff to really get it going if you have to. But guys, we have an excellent news here. I got our Steven came in with the super chat.
Oh,
so you know what that means. We got to hit him with the good old fashioned whisper. Woo!
I missed it.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. I was counting on Donnie there because my girl, she's a therapist. She's doing sessions in the other room. She's always telling me, you gotta keep it down when you do the whisper woos. But look, my man Steven paid for it. I gotta give him, his money.
Yeah, man.
All right. So Steven says, would you pick up Rondale Moore or Josh Palmer this week? Also, I have a Pat Freiermuth and Greg Dulcich on bye. Should I drop one for Knox, Higbee, or Tunyon? Half-point PPR. Okay, so I'm going to answer the first one. I think we agreed. Actually, I think it was 2 out of 3. Me and Donnie liked Rondale, and I believe you would take.
I would take Rondale over
Palmer. Okay,
there's longevity there.
Yeah. The longevity scares me for the next few weeks. Is a great option.
Plus upside.
Palmer's never going to have a game like Rondale Moore had, in my opinion, unless he catch multiple touchdowns. But that I agree that too. So here's the thing: Pat Freiermuth or Greg Dulcich, and we've got Claypool exiting. So I really don't want to drop Pat. I might be more inclined to drop Greg Dulcich, even though we said not to get you through this bye.
You have to, yeah.
And of those 3, Knox, Higbee, and Tunyon, I'm going to go with
what's up? I want to look up the matchups real quick. I think
so. Knox is versus the Jets, who are in the green.
Oh, you were way ahead of me.
Higbee's versus the Bucks, who are in the green as well.
Johnny had his coffee secretly. He butt chugged it. That's why you couldn't see.
Yeah, man.
That's why he was better.
And then Tunyon
bloodstream.
And Tunyon's versus Detroit. So it's all 3 great matchups.
Oh man, I am so Robert Tunyon, dude.
Yeah, that Detroit defense,
The Detroit defense, it should be a high scoring game. I think he trusts Tunyon, and we've started seeing more at 12-4-6 in the last 3 weeks of targets, so 22 in 3 games. He should have had a touchdown last week, or it was offensive pass interference.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
I think I go Tunyon here.
Man, we could have had a whole different game. Packers would have won. No, so I'm actually on Knox here, and the reason I'm on Knox is because every week the Bills have the highest implied team total, and I just think if he's we always talk about these guys. Oh, well, he's touchdown dependent. Well, when Josh Allen's throwing you the football, like you score that. And when I'm streaming for these guys, these tight ends, and I'm just plugging one in, I want the guy with the highest touchdown upside. Maybe that is Tunyon too in that Detroit matchup. I don't know if you can necessarily go wrong. I think Higbee 2 weeks ago, we would have said he's the one to add here, but they've been using him to block more because that line is so bad. Yep. And now Allen Robinson's kind of picked up because of that. So I think Higbee would be third for me, and I'm leaning Knox. Donnie, did you give your full answer on this one? Did you say
I should. I'll break the tie right now. Initially, I was thinking Knox to chase the touchdown as well, and maybe if I wanted to play a ceiling play, I might. But Tunyon's getting more targets every week, and they're versus the Detroit Lions, who are consistently in these shootout games that tons of points are being put up. I think Tunyon is the safer play this week, so I would go Tunyon.
Tunyon there.
I think. Well, there we go.
Yeah,
I think you're lagging a little bit, Travi. Uh-oh. He's Mr. Robot right now. He'll be back.
Oh, man. I thought he got out of it.
So did I. He was close. He was close. So I think it's 2-1 Tunyon Knox. I think those are both great choices. And I think, do you agree to drop Greg over Pat?
Yeah, I definitely do. It just sucks to drop either of those guys. But I would definitely, especially because Claypool's gone, I want to keep Pat.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you.
That sucks to drop either of them.
It's a tough one. But we wait for Travi to get back. I think Jersey J has a question right there. Would you pick up Ingram or Palmer and drop Bateman, Wandell, or White? I have Higbee and Njoku on IR. What are you thinking?
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. Oh, I hate this question. Like, obviously, Rachaad White should be the most. I don't need.
It's tough, man.
Like, look at Bateman, Wandell, and Rachaad White. And it's
I don't want to really
tough.
drop any of them.
No,
if I don't have to.
But apparently, I'm going to assume that he needs a tight end here.
Well, I would drop Higbee for Ingram straight up.
That's probably the way I would go too. I read that as I got Higbee on IR, and then it came to me.
Yeah, I would personally drop Higbee for Ingram, and then would you drop Bateman, Wandell, or White for Palmer for like flex positions? I
really wouldn't. I'd rather go
unless you had to. If you had to, which I don't know why you would have to, because Wandell's right there.
Like Palmer's likely to receive more opportunities than Wandell this upcoming week. Wandell just has the explosive playability to actually do something with his. I really think I would keep Wandell, and I think I would, like you said, drop Higbee for Ingram.
Yeah.
Dude, I have no idea.
Oh, we can hear you a little bit now.
And Mario can keep us rolling here. My internet's just dead here.
Oh, he might be out of it. Oh, man, that's rough, man. I've been dealing with fucking internet issues the last few weeks, so I feel for him right now.
Yeah.
Let's see if he gets back to it. What do we got here?
That looks like a reset router right there, but...
Yeah, he'll be back. Well, we got another one from Jersey J. Oh, wait, he had this to add to his question before. My wide receivers are fine as well as full PPR. Yeah, I don't think that changes.
Well, that just means like I would definitely not go for
Palmer just over drop Higbee for Ingram. I think we both agree.
Yeah.
All right, Jersey J again. Will Hubbard, when he returns, be 50-50 with Foreman? Oof, man, I don't know. At first, he was a starter till he got tweaked up a little bit, right, in that game. I didn't watch it. I was working.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He was leading. I think he was kind of dominating the snapshot. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong on that, but it wasn't until late in the game that Foreman started getting touches once Hubbard got hurt. Dude, this backfield, I have a suspicion that this all collapses for Carolina very fast. And that's not to bet against PJ Walker, because I really am rooting for him. I really want him to be well.
It's a cool one to root for.
Yes,
there he is.
Am I back here?
You're back.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
you're better.
Great.
My internet went down. I had to switch to my hotspot. Sorry, hold on. I'm having like two conversations.
No, so you're looking for this backfield, the whole team, or like what were you saying?
If I'm this is probably getting away from the point, but if I'm a Foreman owner, I am looking to shop. I had a conversation with somebody.
Right?
Yeah, like I had a conversation and here, this is sick because it actually is way more considerable than you think. JT dealing with a high ankle sprain. Foreman, would you trade Foreman for JT? It should be a sure right?
Oh yeah, I think I still would. I was so high on JT out of college this
Exactly.
season, last season. I think I still would. I would sell high.
I think the name, sell high on Foreman. I don't think that many people are going to take that trade that I just put out there for you, but I think it's worth exploring.
Yeah,
to see
maybe,
if they
right?
would.
Yeah, I like that.
Or any of these other RBs that are, underperforming.
Swift has been hurting, right?
Swift. I think a lot of people hate having Sanders on their team. I would trade Foreman for Sanders.
Oh yeah.
So I think Hubbard plays a role, and I think it's close to a 50-50, but I think Foreman just has played so well the past 2 games that he definitely leads this backfield.
Yeah, everyone's been expecting the Panthers to play for that number 1 overall pick, but they're fighting for these games, and their running game has looked better without McCaffrey the last 2 weeks than it has all season. So
did you see the go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I think it's close to 50-50. I'm right there with you.
Did you see the bet that a better made on the Carolina Panthers? There was it was about it was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. Somebody bet 80,000 that the Carolina Panthers would not make the playoffs, and
what are they going to win, like $100?
86,000. Not
okay,
like
so 6,000
not profit,
bucks.
$6,000. So like you think about that, and 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, it was like this is the easiest $6,000 you could probably like in 2 months. Like that's a quick 6,000. But now it's scary because
they were one play away from being like number 1 in the division, that shitty division, man. Yeah.
So like I think the Saints end up winning. I think they come back and steal this division away. But like I am fearful for that dude that put 80,000 on them, man. I think it's still a good bet though.
Yeah. Hopefully he has more. Hopefully he's just. I mean, not hopefully. I hope he's rich as hell and loses the money, man.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right, welcome back, Big Travie.
Yeah, man, we had some internet issues. I'm on the hotspot now. Hopefully, this is not too bad, robotic-y or anything.
No, it looks good.
No, it looks sounds
perfect.
good. Looks good.
This was just my cheap way of getting you guys to tell me I look good. So Jersey J says I'm thinking of trading Swift and Herbert on my Superflex for Kenneth Walker and maybe a Brady type, yay or nay. So we're going to trade away Swift and Herbert for Kenneth Walker and maybe a Brady. I mean, if you can get Kenneth Walker here, I'd be interested in doing that. You are giving up quite a bit. Swift does have a ceiling, especially in a PPR, but if you're hurting for that QB, you can go get Brady and replace the upside with Kenneth Walker as well. Anybody else got a different take on this one?
Is this Justin Herbert though?
Oh, trading Swift and Justin
yeah.
Herbert on my Superflex.
Sense.
It could be
Kenneth
Khalil
Walker.
Herbert, but
And
I thought it was Khalil, but it makes sense. I'd still probably do it.
if it's Justin Herbert, I don't think I would do it.
Yeah, I think that would change it for me as well. The thing for me about Kenneth Walker is, and I think he's dominant. I think he's generational. He's going to be great. He's not going to get the passing down work. So he's like Chubbian, right? Like he's going to get a bunch of work and he's going to be a great runner and get touchdowns, but will he get the upside of the rushing? But what we're seeing from Swift is kind of scary too. You know, having to ease him back. Jamal Williams getting red zone work, some of those things.
Yeah, and Herbert should be doing better the next few, like the rest of the season. It's been rough. It's been tough, but he's a talent. I think people are off on him too early. I think he's going to turn it around.
Yeah, I think Keenan Allen will help him a lot. Sorry. I think Keenan Allen plays more of a role than Mike Williams does for Justin Herbert's game.
Yeah. So between Allen and obviously Eckler and Everett and those things, it should be good for him. Add Deion Jackson here.
Oh, yeah. Smash it.
Yeah. Great handcuffs.
No, and we saw him actually get work as a receiver, those 10 targets.
Tons.
Yeah.
Why doesn't JT get that, man?
Hopefully.
And JT might be out this week, right? He has his sprained ankle again, or he re-injured it. I'll double check.
He got taped up and went back in. So, but I don't know.
Sunday. Yeah, that's what it says.
But I don't know if.
What did it say? I'm sorry.
It just says he twists his ankle on Sunday. So it doesn't say anything about this upcoming week, though.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, it's definitely worth monitoring.
Are you adding him over guys that we talked about, like Jeff Wilson? Who else was the other guy that we really like? Khalil Herbert.
I'd probably go Herbert too.
Yeah.
I would like to add all of those though. Like honestly, draft, like I am stashing away all of these running backs.
The thing is, though, if JT is definitively out this week, I would pick up Deion Jackson for this week specifically to plug him in.
Yeah.
Scott said, I said 2 weeks ago that everyone needed to go grab Likely. With Andrews ailing, it's possible he sits a number of weeks, making Likely a league winner. He's got him stashed in 40 of my 50 leagues. So some of the yeah, Scott, big time.
Scott goes for
a lot of leagues here. Some of the big brain ideas I was talking about earlier with Likely maybe having a little bit more long-term value than we think, not just with Mark Andrews going down. Would you play Josh Palmer over DK, Olave, or AJ Brown? I assume no. There's no way I'm getting Palmer in, even with the extended work here. Yeah. Lynn Wynn says, guys, so Cooks was my flex and unlikely to play. My bench is Hunt, Murray, Gallup on bye. Bateman, hurt, and I have Dulcich as my backup tight end, who's also on bye. Pitts, as well as Pitts. Tony is in right now, but what deep league waiver wire should I go after? We were talking about Duvernay. Duvernay could be an interesting deep waiver wire you could get right now. You guys got any other ideas on some deeper guys?
Man, this looks like it's for a flex position, huh? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cook's flex. I mean, any of those running backs we mentioned, Deion Jackson, especially if JT's out, Khalil Herbert, which is 60% of league, so maybe that's not a little deeper, but man.
There's like over if it's Tony is in the lineup, there's quite a bit on waivers. I don't know if you would also need to drop one of these guys, but there's quite a bit on waivers that I'd rather play over Kadarius Toney
for now.
This week.
Yeah, for this week. Yeah.
I
was able to get him one league, and I was very excited because I think he's gonna. I'm hopeful. My fantasy football fandom in me wants him to just kill it in the playoff season.
I would love if Tony just went to the moon. I was banging the table so hard for Tony in the offseason, and the Giants just have not liked him. I'm actually okay with riding with Tony as a deep play too, because they'll have had the bye week, and maybe they scheme him up for something in the red zone. Like it is a prayer. Like you could go and try and get something else, like Duvernay and some of the guys we talked about. But I do think Tony will probably get a couple looks in the red zone if they play.
And also, is that Kareem Hunt? I would just play Kareem Hunt.
Well, Hunt's on bye this week.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So all these guys basically you mentioned, like
I thought he meant
Gallup, Murray,
okay.
Hunt, they're on bye. Bateman's hurt. Dulcich is on bye. So yeah, he's desperate to get one. And I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know what his other running backs are like, but wait, Cooks isn't for sure out though. So Brandon Cooks could still play. He played last week, and he just was excused because they thought they might be trading him. But I think he'll probably get back to practice.
He's scary. So I was surprised he played this week, but he's been posting some cryptic tweets where
liking
you're starting
all the
to
trade.
wonder, like, I want to say somebody super deep, and you guys are probably both going to laugh at it because I think there's going to be better options. But I think it's depending on how deep, Demarcus Robinson might be a sneaky PPR play. Like
that's decent.
Lamar looked at him a lot last. And he looked good. He looked good.
Yeah. Whenever you say good.
He looked about as good as Palmer does on a weekly basis.
It's like the Broncos country. Let's ride.
So deep league. Like I think.
I feel that. Would you go? Do you like Robinson more than Tony this week?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you choose? Let me just cut you off real fast. Robinson, Likely, or Duvernay if all three were available for this week's sit.
I would go Likely easily. If Andrews is out, easily Likely. Duvernay is high upside, but I think Demarcus Robinson has a higher floor.
He had more targets he had more targets last week than Duvernay. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're going against New Orleans. Does Lattimore shadow Duvernay? Possible, but I doubt it. Like he probably won't necessarily shadow coverage on this game, but he'll probably see a lot of him. Tony really scares me this week, though, man. This is Andy.
Yeah, I would not want to start him if I had to, or if I didn't have to.
The future looks great, but week one scares me.
Yeah. Edward Zhang says, I just made a massive trade. Who do you guys think won? Dalvin Fournette, Mike Evans, Lamar. For Hurts, Waddle, CD, Swift, full point PPR. Hurts, Waddle, CD, Swift.
I
like that side. I like that side a lot more. Yeah,
that's a whole squad right there.
Yeah, you've really anchored that. So hopefully you were on that side of it there, Edward. Gus says we have a, what's up, Gus? How's it going? He says we have a waiver wire cap 20 moves in my league. LOL, I'm at 19. I have my last one left for a QB when Burrow is on a bye week.
That sounds so stressful. I've never been in that kind of league before.
Same.
Yeah, the cap moves would be tough. So, but I do like Fields if he's out there. If you need him for this week, I think that's a good one to go with.
Yep.
As we talked about through there. Jersey J says, put this one question, pick up Dylan, Ingram, Palmer, drop Wandale, Algier, Bateman, Hubbard, or Rashad White. That's my question.
Oh,
we get this one?
Through this already, okay. But he added Dylan, though. Dylan wasn't there before.
Yeah,
or neither was Algier.
Yeah, I would pick up Dylan. I think of these three, the highest upside.
Yeah, he had Higbee, too, and we told him to drop Higbee for Ingram.
I think I would drop Hubbard in this list because I think he added Hubbard as well.
I would drop
Hubbard for Dylan.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Easy. Easy.
Way higher.
This is him just talking some smack on Justin Fields. How's it going, Lady V? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. The Dazed Fool says 12-man PPR 6-2, and I need a running back. I have Aaron Jones, Devin Singletary, and Eno Benjamin with Justin Jefferson, Waddle, and Devonta Smith as receivers. Would you trade Justin for Josh Jacobs and D-Hop or T. Higgins?
Oh, sweet. He could do either. Do you trade?
Would you trade Justin Jefferson for Josh Jacobs and D-Hop?
It's tough, though. Justin is your man on your team, so trading him would be tough. But Jacobs has looked so nice, and I'm really high on D-Hop the rest of the season, and he's seen 20-plus targets in his first 2 starts. Even with Hollywood coming back, I still love him.
I think I would take this.
I think I would too. I don't love it. I never want to be giving away the best player. Yeah. And I think you're doing that when you do that here. But the thing is, D-Hop is absolutely feasting in this offense, and they need him to. And then you get Josh Jacobs, which
is going to be needed with these backs and
right. And plus, he's a volume monster too. So I definitely would do D-Hop over Higgins, and I would do this deal, and it wouldn't feel great. You know, I would try to do Waddle first before I did Justin Jefferson, I think. If you could do that deal, Waddle to get Josh Jacobs and Hopkins, like if you can try that first, especially after the big game out of Waddle. But I would be fine either way. All right. Blurpy here says, hey, fellas, my team is QB, Hurts, running back Cook, Kamara, Etienne, Gibson, Foreman, and Pacheco. Wide receivers Pittman, Terry, Lockett, D-Hop, Amon-Ra, Wandale, tight ends Waller, and Taysom Hill. Any trade ideas? I mean, I think this team is
your team looks
solid.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would not be in a hurry to kind of get out of any of these guys that I can think of. Like maybe you could package, I'm just thinking right now, spitballing, maybe you could package Pittman and Terry for an upgrade at tight end or something like that. Maybe you could get the Andrews owner to bite on something, but that's about it.
I would look to take Foreman. I think he's a sell high. I think people are buying in. I would look to sell Foreman here for a wide receiver or a tight end.
Yeah, I like that. Even package him with Terry. I mean, Terry's great too. Like if you offer someone Foreman and Terry and ask for a top tight end.
I was just offered Terry, Lockett, and Foreman for Derrick Henry. Would you do this deal? I kind of would. I think I would do this deal. I like Lockett a lot, but I think with your other wide receivers,
he's going to have to flip one of these RBs back to a solid wide receiver, which should be easy because those RBs are stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you put Gibson in there? I mean, I don't know if they do this, but if you tried to put Gibson or something in there instead of Lockett, like pull Lockett out of it, do the 3-for-1 still. But yeah, man, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I think you take it. I see your point. Like if they can't do that, I think you still take this, and then you're gonna have to do some work on getting that one of the RBs sold for a upgrade at wide receiver, probably.
Man, that team is gonna look nasty though if you put Henry in it too, man.
Yeah, Henry, and then you get like a top 15 wide receiver as well.
Yeah, that's great.
His running backs should pull that.
Yeah,
some sort of package.
Says I lost J.K. Dobbins and Javonte Williams, so it's very tough trading him as Jefferson is my guy. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but we understand how you're doing it there. But I think it's a good deal. I think you're recouping quite a bit. Waddle and Aaron Jones for Jacobs and Higgins, but he declined, so that makes sense. We tried there. If I grab Ingram and drop Higbee, I need hope Njoku comes back by week 11 because Ingram has a bye. Yeah, the 2 to 5 week timeline is not one we particularly love here. But I think we got through all the questions here. So right before we sign off here, I want to give it to Mario and let the people know what you're working on and where they can find you, my brother.
Yeah, at the bottom you can see our Twitter handle. First off, thank you for having me. Love being on here. Love seeing you guys. But definitely check us out at DadBodFS. We post a lot of tweets. We do our shows weekly. I'm actually heading to another one starting at 9. So come check us out there. Don't pull away from the Fantasy Whispers, but whenever you got a moment, come check us out there. We do it.
Share the love.
Monday through Thursday.
Hell yeah. Follow the Dad Bod Fantasy Squad over on Twitter. They are great. And catch that show over on YouTube. Do us a favor, guys. If you liked what you heard tonight, get over to their YouTube and subscribe and get on their show tonight. Mario is the man, and the guys are doing everything over there. For Mario, for Donnie, I'm Big Travie. We're the Fantasy Whisperers. We're going to be back with you on Thursday night for the watch party. We will see you then. Peace out.
Peace. Oh, can't find my camera.
Right here.
Look at you go. You made it to the end of another one of our videos. Hey, if you still have some questions, I totally understand. Or you just want to join an awesome fantasy football community, head on over to our Discord chat. Link is in the description below. And if you're still not sold on us,